Halito everybody, welcome back. This is CT over at The Native Reality. Today we're going to be reviewing Match Me Abroad. This is going to be, I think, episode 7 if I'm not mistaken. This is going to be brought to you from a mixed urban Native American perspective and a secular perspective, so let's dive right on in. So, we got some new people today here. And we'll talk about it. So let's start off. We start the episode with Chad. Now, I didn't do the review last week, but we'll mix in a little bit of last week's episode into this week. So we started off the episode with Chad, and he is on a date with Marla. Oh, good morning, Susan. Or good afternoon. How are you? Thanks for joining me, Susan. I hope you're having a good day so far. So Chad is on a date with Maria. And we met Chad last week. He's a truck driver he is from Tennessee, and he cuts grass for fun, and it's got to be in straight lines. So that's his thing. He's a Southern boy. He's very he's different. He's definitely different. He's been engaged a few times, and he's going to be set up, or he has been set up with Juan, which is also Natalie and Susan's matchmaker over in Colombia. So he knows what he likes. He likes him tall with dark hair. And Juan tells him, hey, listen, your date is going to meet you at the airport. So after flying, she picks him up. They go on their date. So now we're continuing from their date from last week. So, he's really shocked at how gorgeous she is. And, as they're on the date, he's telling her about his previous engagements. And, she's kind of like taken aback by that and probably thinking like, okay, what's wrong with this guy? And she speaks English, and she works in, she's some kind of manager or something like that. But, it sounds like she has her own career. She's doing well. Now, I just got to say, like, the woman looks like a supermodel. I mean, she is amazingly pretty. Like, why does she need a matchmaker? But maybe she's just running into losers or something like that. But I don't know. This is going to be interesting. I'm not sure if she is going to be the connection that he's looking for, and vice versa. Or I'm sure she's what he wants, but I don't know if it's the other way around. I don't know if she would maybe date Chad. Maybe he seems a little bit too withdrawn, and he's like straight from the country. He said he's never been out of the country before, out of the United States. And, he's raised in the country. And he's just like, for you guys who don't know, I was raised in the South. And he just reminds me like a typical Southern guy, and he looks like he has like, tobacco chew or something in his mouth when he's talking, kind of like that, and, he's talking like, you would talk, which is kind of, if English is not your second language, it can almost sound like a dialect when you meet someone from the South, and he's talking like this, and he's talking about, well, he ain't gonna do, and I ain't gonna do this, and I ain't gonna do that. That can be kind of hard to understand. I mean, so, kudos to her for even, her comprehension was pretty good, because, it's different learning English and speaking with people who sound like they're all from California versus getting somebody from like, a more enclosed, or, maybe someone who grew up a little bit more sheltered, right? Because sheltered sometimes can equal thick accent. Not all the time, but in this case, it was so. I felt like it was just weird. I feel like the chemistry wasn't really there on her end. So now we go over to Harold, and I have not put up my thumbnail yet, guys, but Harold, just spoiler alert, I'm going to be putting Harold up on the thumbnail, because he is on his date with, I believe her name is Michaela, if I'm not mistaken, and the date is going so well, and they seem like two little peas in a pod, don't they? They're so cute together. And Harold is so sweet, I'm just like, oh, Katerina, oh, bravo to you for hooking these two up. I mean, what a good introduction. She's doing better than Nina. We'll get over to Nina in a minute. My God. So anyway, so he's on part 2 of the date, and he has this beautiful romantic like a little dining set up in the dining area. Like the tables were all done up with roses. It's very romantic. And he planned ahead. He called the hotel and had them set that up. I guess maybe once he saw that the date was going a lot better than it was with that Teresa, because that Teresa was not for him, right? And, it's like I was saying from the very beginning of the series, like, why can't they find someone who's like intellectually on his level, who will find him, wonderful? Because he's cute and everything like that. And, he's just, he dresses terribly. But, someone that can really love him. And he seems like he comes from a very warm family. And usually I'm always like, oh, you never know. I don't want to fall in love with these people and then find out, they're wanted in 17 states for like, unmentionable crimes or something. But Harold, he just took my heart from the very beginning. He's so sweet. And, listen, guys, I think I need to stand corrected. What Susan said, Harold and her may make it. Listen, Susan, from your lips, okay, from your lips, because I am hoping that happens. And I need to stand corrected because, I was looking at Harold, maybe the angles and stuff, this particular episode. I think I may have to withdraw the statement that he was wearing a bad hairpiece. I think he just has a very high hairline, and because some people have very high hairlines and naturally, so when they do, the hairline looks thick because that's where it's supposed to be. It's not that it's a hairpiece that's way back yonder, and that's what I was thinking. I said, oh wait, is that his hair? I think that's his hair. So I may have to retract that statement. I'm like 99% there. There's still a 1% chance, but I think that's his hair. But anyway, yes, I think they're a perfect match too. So let's move on. So she's feeling very comfortable with him, and he says, I don't know if you caught this too, Susan, when he goes, well, not to be too forward, but how soon would you like to get married? It was so funny. I was like, no, please don't be too forward at all. And you saw her face. She was like, whoa, geez. I had to feel the emotion, but, and it was so cute. And I was sitting here thinking, like, is her family really trying to get her married off? Like, is this what this is? Because they're in a different culture, and, women are expected to be married at a certain age and stuff like that. And, it is Eastern Europe, right? It's not Western Europe. Eastern Europe and Western Europe are very different places. So, anyway, since it's going so well, he asks her if she wants to go up to his room, and he says yes. And what'd you say? That was so cute. And so he says, yeah, let's go up to the room. He says, I want to show you my inventions and stuff like that. Now, usually, listen, ladies, if a man usually says he wants you to go back to his room and show his inventions and his rocks, okay, because the rocks can be so hard, I just would normally say, just say I'll pass, right? But this case, we know it's him. We know it's Harold. We feel that he's genuine. Plus, the camera crew is there, and I think that probably gave her a sense of comfort, knowing that she'll be sort of chaperoned. And I don't know what her parent situation is. Are they involved with this matchmaking process? Do they have any say in this? But I just thought it was perfect. I've seen dates that have happened on many shows for years, and this was definitely the most perfect date. Oh, hey, Tracy. Yes, they do make a good match, don't they? Listen, so you heard it from all of us. Me, Tracy, and Susan, we all say they make a perfect match. So what we say goes. They make a perfect match. I'm just kidding. But, so far so good, and I'm just really, really hoping that, they are able to stay on the same page and none of the awkwardness comes in, or it doesn't sound like there's anything about their past that could come up that's going to, break it or something. But, hopefully they can continue with the same chemistry that they're having. But, he was so happy. He just lifted her up in the air, and it was just like, oh my God, too cute. So anyway, now we meet Michelle, and she's new. She's 34. She's from Raleigh, North Carolina, and she is a party princess. And she is a feminist, and she's looking for a liberal Eastern European man. Well, she didn't say a liberal Eastern European, but she has decided to go to Prague. So it's going to be Katerina, once again, who's also helping out Harold. And she wants to try and meet someone who's liberal over there. Now, I'm not saying that's going to be impossible. Definitely not saying that at all. But, being a feminist, I think it's going to be, I just feel like why did you choose Eastern Europe versus Western Europe? Like I said, it's not impossible. Yes, there are definitely liberal people in Eastern Europe, but numbers-wise, you're going to find that more in Western Europe, right? So I wonder, is this going to be a harder match? Does she, is the matchmaker going to have, her hands very full, in that sense? And I understand because, listen, because I'm a feminist too. So I know if I was dating somebody wherever, in another country, I'm going to tell my matchmaker, make sure you find me someone who understands that women are equal. Maybe they didn't grow up in a culture that reflects that, but that they have to be on that page, right? I don't want to deal with any nonsense. I'm not going to just be, cooking and cleaning all day and not getting an education and just having babies or whatever. Like, you don't want to be with someone who had, or I would not want to be with someone who had those sort of views or expectations of me. So her being on the same page as me, I'm just wondering why Prague. But was it like a production and a budget thing? Because maybe she just signed up for the show and they were like, listen, this is the pool of which you can choose from. You can choose somebody from Colombia or somebody, da, 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 da. So, she wants a European guy, so she went with Katerina. So we'll see how this goes. I have my fingers crossed. She was sitting there telling her friends that, she's decided to embark on this process. And of course, they don't want to see her leave. And, she does live in North Carolina, for God's sakes. It's not exactly a bastion of liberal thought, right? So maybe she's not finding what it is that she wants there locally. I'm just like, nothing wrong with dating someone abroad, but there are challenges, right? Visas, money, long distance, families, culture, language, all of that. Maybe like go to California or something like that, or I don't know, maybe she was just having I would imagine she was trying, and she's got a beautiful smile. She seems to have a very bright personality, so I'm sure it's not for a lack of trying, because some of these men out here, they're just garbage. I don't even know what's going on. Susan says, I think it'll be hard for her. I think a more conservative, yeah, it is a more conservative country, exactly. So that's why I'm just not understanding, why people are choosing on this show to be with people from countries where there will be such a difference. You know what I'm saying? Like, finds, I don't know. Anyway, I'm starting to think of countries I could suggest in my mind, but you never know where you'll find love. But it's definitely going to make it a lot more challenging. But I liked her. She seemed very sweet, so we'll see what happens with her. So now we have Mark. We're back with Mark. So Mark meets up with Nina, and Nina's getting some feedback from him about his date with Sukanya. Or Sukana is her name. And he's like, she's great and everything like that, but I really do want to be with someone that's a little bit older. Now, Mark is 44, if I have the age correct. Sukana was 24. And you could see as Nina's listening to the information, she's like, yeah, okay, but I have someone else. But she's 25 instead of 24. And he's like, okay. She's like, but don't worry, she's mature, she has her own business and stuff like that. And I'm like, Nina, you're not listening, all right? Now, I'm feeling like this might be a supply and demand kind of issue. Of course, a place like Morocco is not going to have anywhere near the type of divorce rates that we have here in the States. So it may be harder to find people, because if he's looking for somebody his age, I would assume that out of that pool, a lot of those would be divorcees and some women who've never gotten married. So, culturally, religiously conservative places like that, maybe she's just doesn't have enough people his age to choose from. Or is she just going by like, oh, well, here it's not abnormal for older men to marry younger women, which I don't know if that's the case or not, but I'm wondering, is that her thought? Is that Nina's thought process? Because I'm just like, okay, if he's already told you, I don't like red hair and, short stature, and you give him red hair and short stature, and then the next day you give him red hair, short stature again, it's like, you gotta listen. Now, I understand about some of those cultural things that he has to get on board with, but basics, you cannot, I feel like in matchmaking, and we see this a lot, what Tracy said, why is he still dating 20-year-olds? Yeah, well, he's dating 20-year-olds because she's hooking him up with 20-year-olds. He shouldn't, well, I shouldn't say shouldn't, but, in my opinion, he needs to be dating someone his age, and he knows that, and he's communicating that to Nina, but I'm not understanding why. But like I said, again, maybe she just doesn't have enough women in their 40s to introduce him to. That's what I'm thinking, right? Because Nina, she's like with it, right? Nina's from Jersey. There's not so much of a cultural difference between her and Mark because she's American. I mean, she's Palestinian by ethnicity, living in Morocco, but she's American, so she gets it. So I'm just not really understanding what the disconnect is. I mean, unless she just cannot find any women, or she can't find any women in their 40s or even like late 30s for him. I don't know what's going on there. We saw that with some of these other matches. Like we've seen that on other shows, like Married at First Sight, where a person will say, we've seen this before. I don't want that. I don't want somebody who doesn't work. I don't want somebody who has kids. I don't want someone who has red hair. And I'm not picking on redheads. This is actually a real thing that's going on at Married at First Sight. But some people will say certain things, or I don't want someone with this complexion. That's happened too. They've said, I don't want someone this skin color. These people, when people have regardless of what our judgment is about those particular things that people want or don't want, that is what they want. So if they're entering this process, it is incumbent upon the people who are taking the reins and saying, trust me, I'm going to find you something you want. Certain things are non-negotiables. Certain things you can't change, and certain things you can change, but you don't want to have to change. Like a career. Somebody who's, I don't know, makes, like less than whatever a year, and just like they kind of get by. They're spontaneous and they're great and they're wonderful, but they don't have the finances. Or someone who has kids and you hook them up with somebody who already has kids. Or someone who says, you must, whoever you introduce me to must want children. And then they match you up with somebody who definitely doesn't want to have kids. We've seen this play out over and over again. So just give them the basics, like job, age, desire to want to be married, desire to want to have a family. Those are non-negotiables as a matchmaker. You need to set people up with people that are, closer to that. Tracy said he needs someone in their mid-30s. Mid-30s could definitely work for him. It definitely could work for him. Because, you know what, Tracy, you make a good point. Tracy makes a good point, because if you give somebody in their 40s, then having a kid that might be a little bit more challenging. Not impossible, but definitely more challenging. So actually I agree with that. I think you need someone in his mid-30s, like, maybe like right at 35 or something like that. Because like a 10-year difference, that's not so bad. But like, a 20-year difference, that's too much. To me, that's too much. That's too much. So anyway, so that now we meet back up with Natalie, and she goes out on a new date with Alejandro, and he is a DJ. Now it seems to be that those two are clicking and they have the chemistry right away. Now I was thinking, though, career-wise, that he would be doing something a little bit other than DJing. Now she said that her career path was all about practicing law, going to law school, law, and then she changed her mind. I don't remember what she does for a living. If any of you guys remember, just throw it down in the chat for me. I don't remember what it was, but I thought she made a pretty good living. So if that's the case, a DJ, I think that's going to be a really hard sell for her mom, even though he has the chemistry. Because I think what she's doing is basically trying to outpace her mom. Like, her mom is the matchmaker, but she's trying to do a matchmaking thing so she can find somebody faster than her mom can find for her. Because I feel like she's under a lot of pressure, probably at her age. They're looking at her like, what's going on? Why are you not married already? So I think she's trying to literally find a husband before her mom finds one for her, and she just feels too pressured to go ahead and give in. So I just, Juan, I don't know. The DJ thing, I don't think that's going to work. I think you need to you're matching them with American women. She can find a cute Latin DJ here in the States. She doesn't have to go that far for that. So I feel like you got to get her that, has the personality stuff that she wants along with the career. I really, really think the career part is important. So, I don't know how they get their singles, but I remember when I used to watch that Millionaire Matchmaker. Remember with Patty Stanger? Oh gosh, she would have her Patty melt. She would she'd be going off all the time. And they'd have these singles mixers, and she'd have her recruiters out on the street going up to people, giving them their business card. Hey, come to this mixer. You may meet a millionaire or whatever. So I don't know how he is recruiting people. But matchmaking, that is a very specific career. They have their own little secrets and age-old secrets. Some matchmakers have been doing it for generations in their family. So they have their little trade secrets. I wonder with the internet and everything, it should make things more easy, but are they still doing just like the face-to-face, sort of Patty Stinker style, grab you on the street kind of recruitment? Because I'm not understanding where he's getting, musicians and DJs and people that don't have the kind of income, I think that, I don't know, that, most American women, I would assume, would want to have. Oh, Tracy said the sex comment he made didn't make sense to me. Which sex comment are you talking about, Tracy? Oh, you're talking about with Alejandro about he doesn't want to speak about spirituality before having sex. Yeah, that was very strange. You, me, and Natalie were all confused about that, right? Yeah, that was weird. I just was like, okay. So they were trying to figure out where they were in terms of like religion, and apparently, now this was interesting. I didn't know that Natalie's dad was Catholic, and her mom is Buddhist, but she leans more Buddhist, and he used to be atheist, but now he's into meditation, which still really can fall under atheism. I mean, meditation, you don't need to believe in a higher power to be an atheist, right? So you can still meditate and just not believe in any kind of dogma. So I would still put him in an atheist category to me, or at least agnostic. Okay, we'll say agnostic to be completely fair. So I think that could work. I definitely think, spirituality wise, there's no harsh lines or anything like that. That could work. But it was really interesting how when he mentioned about the angels, how she was like, oh, wait, I wasn't expecting that. And I got that. I really picked up what she was putting down, because she grew up with a Catholic parent and, in Catholicism, angels and all that. So it's reminding her more of a Catholic upbringing that she does not want to be attached to, or she doesn't choose to practice that or have a partner who practices that. So I think that's a little thing that just kind of makes her go, okay, like, are you gonna will we get married and then like a couple of years in, are you gonna be like, okay, change my mind, psych, I want to go, I want my kid to be baptized and stuff like that. That's what I was getting from that. Right? So I don't know. Another thing, her hair color, because her hair color is a lot like mine, like this kind of like reddish tone. I use henna because I have severe gray, okay? Like disrespectful gray. I've seen people that gray really beautifully. Mine, I tried letting that grow out and see how that looks. It was not cute. So I use henna because it's all natural. I have very curly African hair, and I just prefer to, use more natural stuff on it when I can. So that the tone of that red was very henna-ish. I am so digressing right now. I have no idea why I'm doing that. But, I'm also a hairstylist, so, when I look at hair color, and I'm seeing this brown girl with this reddish hair, I'm like, I wonder if that's henna. I mean, her family is Sri Lankan. I mean, henna is a common thing that's used in Southeast Asia to do your hair. But I think it looks really cute on her. But anyway, she's having a good time with him. There seems to be chemistry. I am just, the only thing I'm worried about with these two literally is this career path, right? Because I noticed when he said that, when she asked him, or when he asked her initially, like, what do you do? Or no. What about what did he say? It was like when they first met and she started telling him about how, she wanted to be a lawyer, but she decided not to. And he was like, oh, cool. All right, cool. He was like very laid back about that. And which was interesting, because I thought he was going to be like, oh, so what do you do now? But if he was like maybe more settled in his career, maybe he would have had more questions like that. But he was very laissez-faire about it, which made me think, okay, maybe he's not financially stable. Now, just because he's a DJ doesn't mean he's not making money, right? Because there are DJs that make good money. But I don't know, is he like a DJ, or is he like a DJ traveling the world? He didn't mention any of that. So I wasn't getting from him that it is particularly lucrative. Maybe it's just something for him to pay his bills and, keep food on the table. But we'll see. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. So we'll find out about that. But, so yeah, they seem to really have a nice little chemistry. And it was nice to see Natalie smile. And she thought that he was a school teacher. Tracy said her mother will not accept a DJ unless rich. Tracy, a Sri Lankan mother? I don't think she is either. I mean, unless he's like, he DJs for I don't know, famous people or something like that. I don't see that happening. I mean, well, don't fall too far in love with Natalie, because, girl, I don't know, your mother may pull that rug underneath your feet with this guy. But they decide that they want to go on another date, and she feels like he's more her speed, more than, was it Stewart was his name? Stewart, he was good looking, head to toe and everything like that, but I think this is a little bit more her pace. And I noticed, did you guys notice he had the earring in his ear, like that kind of earring that, like, it starts here and then a barbell goes through and comes out on the other side, which is very like young and very kind of like, still kind of getting yourself together, like, you're not working a corporate job with that in your ear, right? Not judging, just making observations. So I'm just not sure, like, can you imagine her introducing him to her mother with that earring in his ear? Like, I could see her mom being like, absolutely not. And her mom is trying to get her to marry somebody Sri Lankan, right? So if you're going to go outside of the culture, he better probably be dipped in gold, honey. That's all I'm saying. But I think she's got a little, obstacle ahead of her with her mother. So, anyway, so now we go back to Harold, and, they're back in his room, and, the chemistry is so good, and, they're holding hands, and he's showing her his book, and, his pictures of Star Wars. He has a Star Wars t-shirt on, and she has on her little Star Wars, like a Lieutenant Aurora little, mini dress, like the 60s. It was so cute. It was so cute. And the next thing you know, they look like they're coming in so close, and like he wants to, but he doesn't know if he can because he's like in pure bliss right now. But it looked like to me, I don't know if you guys saw different. It looked like she kind of moved in first, and the next thing you know, they sealed it with a kiss. It was very, very sweet. Tracy said, did he have tattoos? Oh, you talking about Alejandro? I didn't notice that. I did not notice. I didn't see any. But yeah, if he does, he better be wearing a turtleneck when he meets that mother. So, yeah, they have. So Harold and I think her name was Michaela have their first kiss together. And it's so sweet. And I just liked it. I don't know. I just really liked it. I liked them together, and and he said in the confessional, I haven't fallen in love with anyone, and da da da. And for him, this is falling in love. He hasn't even kissed anyone in 6 years. The poor guy's been so lonely, right? So maybe she can help him, like, be active and have healthy lifestyle, and and maybe he can help her, like, introduce her to certain things about his culture and stuff, like, because they culturally they I think now that we have solidified the chemistry, I think the next thing is going to be the cultural stuff, right? Yeah, I mean, because he is American after all, and she's used to Eastern European guys, but maybe she wants something different, so maybe she'll embrace some of that stuff. But even when you want something different, even when we say we want, we're tired of oranges, we only want apples. When we finally get those apples, there's a little bit about oranges that you still miss, right? So you got to still work it out, and I'm glad that Katerina is so. She really does come across to me like someone who really cares for him and really yes, this is a job, she's getting a paycheck, but she really, it does seem to me like she really wants to be able to find him someone that can match his energy and his level. And the fact that she was able to find someone who intellectually is like, they're matched. They're like, similar level, right? So, I mean, at least what we've seen so far, or socially, I should say, anyway, maybe not mentally, but socially. For her to find someone, I think that was awesome. I think that takes work. I don't know if she already had this girl on her roll of clients, on her Rolodex of people already, or if she had to go out and find her for this show specifically for him. But whichever it was, the fact that she was able to really see Nina, take notes. All right, this is how you do it. Because Nina, if you can't find any people in Morocco, girl, that can fit Mark's requirements, you may need to fly somebody in from Tunisia or something. I don't know. It's TLC. There's got to be a budget for this, right? So anyway, yeah, he walks her out to the van so she gets in her car service, and he lifts her up, and he like jumps. I was waiting for him to do that little dance. How he likes to do that little dance. It was so cute. Oh my God, just this whole episode was all about him. Tracy says, do you think he will go back to wearing suspenders? Of course he's got to go back to those suspenders. That's all he knows. Listen, Tracy, that was a tactic, okay? When he showed her, now he may not be, he may be on a different level or whatever, but he still is smart enough to know when he pulled out that phone, and he showed her that Star Trek shirt, because remember, he already was working up to, well, I'm usually casual in my t-shirt and jeans, right? And she's like, oh yeah, me too. He was so happy. So when he showed her that picture on his phone, he's like, look at this. See, he wanted to see what her reaction was, because he wanted to see if she was going to be like, get rid of those suspenders. Now, she may still make him get rid of them, but he is definitely going to try that. And I'm sure he packed like 4 pair for his entire trip, right? So hopefully Katerina is going to veer him off and be like, okay, date number 1 was really good. Now make sure you're keeping up with the wardrobe, because you don't want to scare this girl away. He's going to be thinking in his mind, oh no, she's going to love my suspenders. Are you kidding me? So I really wish we could have a funeral for those suspenders, but he's going to keep those. Those are like his little comfort thing, like those little blankets, little security blankets kids have when they're kids. Kids have when they're kids. When kids have, when they're little. So lastly, we get to Mark. So now it's time for him to go out on his second date with yet another 25-year-old. The other one's 24, this one's 25. Her name is Huda. He goes to the house. We get to see, okay, this is one of the things that I live for this show. I live for this. One of my other shows, okay, True Confessions, is House Hunters International, because I love to see other countries and how people live, what their houses look like, what the streets look like. I'm not a world traveler, so for some people like me, just like watching it on the camera is like, that's your way of exploring and kind of getting a bird's eye view of what it's like to be in another place. So when we saw the Moroccan door and how low it was, and then did you see that Moroccan tile? See, Morocco, that's where all the rich ladies from the Hamptons, the Americans, go when they want to get like all this beautiful stuff. A little sidebar, a lot of European culture or European architecture that we see today is actually based off things from the Arab world, because there was a lot of expansion. You had the Turkish or the Ottoman Empire that was expanding around the time that wasn't that happening around the time that Christopher Columbus and his lot, okay, he was a murdering, thieving son of a you-know-what. He, during that time, and, Spain was dealing with this, encroachment, right? Because you had all these empires going on, but there was so much that the Europeans got from the Arab world, including, science, philosophy, things like that. It wasn't just the Greeks and, the Romans and stuff. So, a lot of the archways that we see nowadays, and, when we see a house and you say, oh, look so ancient, or look at that church, look how it's, that comes from Arab architecture. So it was beautiful for me to see, and really satisfying to see Arab architecture in its kind of antiquated form. I don't know how old that house is, but it doesn't look like it was built in the 80s, right? The tile and like those small rooms, and it really reminded me of Moroccan decor I used to see in New York. And I mean, to me, I just absolutely love the decor, like their lamps and stuff. So it was just gorgeous. So anyway, the brothers meet him at the door. He comes inside, and it's really awkward because her brothers are, they don't speak that much English, and they're really young. He meets the mom. It was nice. She shook his hand, and I think it was kind of like, it wasn't too much of a strict religious family where handshaking isn't allowed and stuff like that. So I think that was, probably better for him, like to be set up with a family that's a little more, not so strict with the religious stuff. So anyway, so finally she comes down, and Huda, she's beautiful. She does not look 25, I gotta say. I mean, it's not that she looks old, but she just seems more mature, right? So then, they sit down for a few minutes, and then, finally they decide to go on the date. And, he was being a little bit of an American asshole, though. Even my husband noticed that, like, the way he was acting when he was sitting down, waiting for her to come downstairs, and they're having this awkward, chit-chat, and the brother moves away from him and sits on the other side, probably for eye contact, right? And he's like, oh, is it me? Do I smell bad? That was stupid. That was really unnecessary. You don't need to do that. But, I guess they weren't expecting someone to be so old, and, I kind of, was thinking too, like, okay, well, she must know he's this age. Listen, when they get together, come to find out, Huda didn't know that he was that old either. So, they go out on their date and it's like, are you used to dating people that are younger or older? I mean, she's into a younger guy. She's just being polite because this has all been set up or whatever, but she wants a younger guy. And so both of them want to be with people of different ages. So, I mean, Nina, what did you do here? I mean, Nina, you need to go talk to Katerina and figure out how to get people that, are more closely matched. I mean, this was like a waste of time. I mean, she was a beautiful girl, beautiful skin and everything like that. I like what she was wearing. She had like a cute little tight dress on and she looked cute. I mean, maybe Morocco's a little more, I guess it depends on where you go, because like the way she was dressed was like super cute, and I could see her with some other guy, but not Mark, and he wants to have kids right away too, right? So, oh yeah, Tracy said, however, she thought he was a little old for her. He's 20 years older. I mean, she doesn't seem like she's like, real traditional and like, just anyone who's an entrepreneur. And I would be interested to see her go out on some dates with some other guys. And well, she's not the American, so they won't follow her, but I would be interested in that. So listen, Nina, you are 0 for 2 at this point. You've got to find Mark somebody, a little bit closer to his age, I mean, the other girl, she seemed like she wanted, things out of life, but she's still discovering and learning. Too much of an age difference. So anyway, that's about it, guys. That's today's episode, or last night's episode. We will see more next week. It is summertime now, but not where I live. Our children are still in school. Yes, you heard me right. It's summer for the rest of you people, but my kid is still in school. They got these kids in school, teacher strikes and everything. So my summer hopefully will start next week. So once the summer starts officially, I'll be coming on more regular hours because, I'm not doing the drop-offs pickup thing, during the summertime. So summer show schedules will be, just however, I can't promise I'll make shows, but I can't say exactly. I always try to get my shows out as soon as I can after the episode is aired. But it may not be at 9 o'clock every Monday or something like that. And now that 90 Day Fiance is starting a new series coming up. I think, did that start last night or was it? No, does it start this? No, I think that starts today because it's going to be on Mondays. So I'll check that out and see how I like it. I can't do two 90-day shows at the same time. So maybe I'll pick up this new one and ditch the other one. I don't know. It's not getting as It's not as interesting as it was. I mean, it was good, but I don't know. It's my summer, guys. I need a little bit of a break. We'll see how it goes. But either way, have your notifications on. That way you know which shows I will be reviewing and when I will be reviewing them. And, that's it. Oh my gosh, Susan. Kids have been out for a month already. You listen. Oh my God. Are you serious? Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh, hi, Mary B. Thank you for joining. A new site. Really enjoy. Thank you for joining. Yeah, a month. Okay, Susan, you could have kept that to yourself, girl, because now I'm feeling very, very robbed of my summer. Oh my God, a month already? It should be a month already, though. When I was a kid, I felt like we were out of school the first week of June. I mean, we did go to school till June at least, but I mean, can you believe it? My kid's still in school? Anyway, guys, I will watch this show tonight and make some decisions about if I'm going to cover it or not for 90 Day Fiancé. Married at First Sight has just been so dry. Okay, we did the reunion episode. I did that last week. You guys can check that out. And I'll be doing some traveling this summer, and I will be filming from my travel location. So that'll be lots of fun. So you get a little bit more of a view into my world here. So that's it. They go back. Oh, at the week of August. Oh, okay. Well, that's a little. Yeah, see, I don't think kids should ever have to go to school in August, but it makes sense. I guess that makes sense. But yeah, August? That's no fun. September feels like a good, clean start to a new year. But that's it, guys. I hope you're taking care, and I hope you're enjoying your summer, and I will catch up with you being in summer mode next week officially. And stay safe. I will see you next week. I'm not going to tell you what day right now. As of right now, probably Monday, maybe Tuesday. But I'll let you know. Have your notifications on. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe, and please share it with your friends. Take care. Check this out.